Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Fantasy Hawkeye Show here on YouTube. And today, we are going to be doing a very special episode here today. So, this is my 2026-2027 sports, fantasy football, and basketball preview show. So today I'm going to be going over my fantasy teams for you. And just a note, I got everything here on my phone. For some interesting reason, Sleeper does not actually allow me to project my team information straight to my computer. It is freaking stupid. So I'm going to be on my phone a lot, doing a lot of scrolling today for today's episode. But basically, I'm just going to preview my fantasy teams and my expectations for each of them. Didn't even realize I didn't even close my door. I legit didn't even realize that. Anyway, and also, and a quick update for you. Camera situation, I'm hoping to get something next month, but I don't know yet, like, what I'm exactly looking for and stuff yet, though. So we're just gonna kind of play it by ear on that. I'm hoping I can find something next month, though. So, today, again, we're gonna do today is a very special episode. We're gonna be doing my fantasy football team preview and my fantasy basketball team previews. Let's get right into it. So, this is year 8 for the fantasy football league. We're gonna start there first. Last year, I ended up actually starting to go into sell mode. I had Patrick Mahomes. I had Derrick Henry. I had a lot of really good talent. The problem was this team just could never get over the playoff hump. I've made the playoffs fairly consistently in this league, or I've just had really bad second half luck. Like, the team always started off strong, one of the best teams in the league, and then, whether it was an injury, whether it was just bad luck, the team just basically tanked every single year. So, I ended up selling it last year, a lot of it at the deadline. So, this year, first off, in terms of expectations, I have basically nothing. I mean, this team is basically nothing. I'm trying here with what I've got. I had the number 2 overall pick, and I also had 3 first-round picks this summer. So, oh, by the way, let me know if y'all like the shirt. Pretty cool, right? Anyway, getting distracted here. So, we're going to go through the team that I have now and the expectations that I have for this year's team. Going forward. So, like I said, I have 3 first-round picks. I got one of them for Patrick Mahomes, and I got a first-round pick for Derrick Henry at the trade deadline last year. So, in the league, that is, not, real trade deadline, in the fantasy league. So, let's get right into it here. So, we're going to go by starters, and then we're going to go by, bench guy, typical, probably mainly bench guys. So, looking at this team, looking at this league in general, we run 48-man rosters, 55 guys during the preseason. Now, I have not actually cut down the 48 yet, but I'm going to list the 48 that I believe will stay on the roster. And if I don't get the 48, officially, that's fine. But, like I said, though, the expectations for this team are basically nothing this year. When I look at the player average age, when we look at the roster average age, right now it's 27 years old. Quarterback is 26 and a half. Running back is 28 and 3 months. Wide receivers 27 years old on average. Tight end, I'm 26 and a half. Kicker, I'm 27. Defensive line, I'm 27 and a half. I mean, like, I'm pretty up there in age. And I really want to get younger in general in this league. That is the goal. I I'm not going to say my plans out here because there are some people in this league that may end up watching this video. So I'm not going to say the plans or any of that stuff like that. But I'm just going to go through the team expectations in general and what to expect going forward. Because, okay, I guess I will say one thing. This is a build through the draft type league for me right now. This is a build through the draft. Not, anything I trade, I'm going to try and sell. That's the only thing I'm going to say at this point. And I'm willing to sell basically every single thing on this team, except for any rookie that I brought in this year. So, let's get right into it here. We're going to look at the quarterback room first. If I mention a rookie, I'll mention a rookie if they are in my taxi squad or not. And we'll go from there. So, and then we'll look at the team in general. I'll give my final thoughts. And then we'll look at the NBA team. Because that team, I have really high expectations for. And we'll get to that here in just a moment. So, quarterback. I have Dak Prescott, Malik Willis, Bryce Young, which, to be fair, is not horrible. I mean, it could be worse, I think. It could be a worse quarterback room, I feel like, to be fair. And I brought in Ty Simpson during the rookie draft, during our rookie draft. Oh, and by the way, you keep anybody in this league. I mean, you keep everybody in this league. We make cuts down to 40 for free agency, but we do a free agency period. It's a dynasty keeper league. For the most part, we keep pretty much everybody in this league. So anyway, sorry about that. I didn't point that out to you. Ty Simpson is on the taxi squad. He'll stay there until I have to activate him, which is in 2 years from now. But unless if that rule changed on me, I don't think it did. But I think it's still 2 years. I think Ty Simpson could very well end up being the future main quarterback for the team. I'm hoping he is anyway, which is why I brought him in from the... I actually traded up for him back late into the third round to get him with 2 fourths that I had. So, pretty good there, I think. And then, unfortunately, I have J.J. McCarthy just, sitting there. He'll probably end up being a cut, to be fair, though, at this point. I don't really know what I'm going to do. Running back room, I have no running backs. I have nothing. My best running back is Aaron Jones, and then I have Ty Johnson, Justice Hill, Malik Davis, and Jamari Taylor. I have nothing. I have nothing. Like I said, I sold most of this team for all sorts of different assets and later picks and future years and such. It's bad. Now, the wide receiver room is the one room that I actually was able to pretty much rebuild for the most part, I think, from the draft. From the selling point to now. I had the number 2 overall pick. I brought in Carnell Tate, number 2 overall. I brought in Jeremy Bernard as well in the draft. I believe, let me look here real quick. He's on the bench right now. When did I bring him in? I picked him up at 302. I picked him up early in the 3rd round. I wish I had all this stuff written down. I'm sorry. I'll have the basketball team more in hand than this team, to be fair, though. Because I spend more time thinking about that team than I do the football team in general in this league. I really do, honestly. And I'll explain more later on. Anyway. Marvin Mims. I have Caden Weegan on the taxi squad. Jalen Naylor. DK Metcalf. Jawan Jennings. Christian Kirk. Chris Godwin. And Deebo Samuel. That's not a horrible receiver room if you think about it. Especially because, I think I have a future number 1 in Carnell Tate. I can maybe trade away DK Metcalf for something later this year. Chris Godwin, Deebo, same thing there. But it's not horrible. There's a lot of work yet to be done, though. But the tight end room, though, was another room I'm really excited about. I brought in Eli Stowers at pick 112. I had picks 111 and 112. I brought in Stowers at 112. So I was really excited about him. And then I have A.J. Barner, who, interestingly enough, last year I actually picked up off waivers, if I remember right. Cade Otton, Noah Fant, and T.J. Hawkinson. So it's not a horrible tight end room. I mean, they're going to be able to compete. Eli Stowers is the third player on the taxi squad right now. Another player who I picked up off of waivers last year. I ended up picking up Cam Little off of waivers last year, believe it or not. And I've had Harrison Butker since day one in this league. And the defensive line room is another room. That is really the third room. And now, that's pretty much the offense. The offense is a mess. It's going to be a good 5-6 years before I'm even decent in this league, I think, going forward. But I'm really excited, though, about building a new core. You know, it was the right time. I really want to build a new core in this league and to be able to compete for championships going forward. But this is the way I have to do it. Now, defensively, I'm actually really, really excited about this defense because I have a lot of playmakers on this defense, including 2 rookie defensive linemen who I drafted. I drafted Ruben Bain at 111, and I also drafted Peter Woods late in the draft this last year. I brought in Nick Scorton via trade. Lucas Van Ness, I brought in from waivers. Oh no, he was from the free agency period. I brought him in from the free agency period, former Iowa defensive lineman. Will McDonald, the former first-round pick out of Iowa State. Derek Brown, who I really like. Ed Oliver, who I really like. Dexter Lawrence. DJ Wonnum. And then DeMarcus Lawrence and Cameron Hayward. Not a horrible defensive line. But again, I'm just trying to get younger. Anything that I can do to try and get even younger, I'm going to take advantage of the situation and just do it. Just do it. The defensive back room is really good. Super exciting room. D'Angelo Pons is a guy who I think I might end up cutting. I'm not sure yet, to be fair. But I do have Cooper DeJean. I have Sauce Gardner. I have Quinyon Mitchell. Yes, I have both Philadelphia corners. I have Devon Witherspoon. I have Patrick Surtain. Geno Stone, Amani Hooker, a couple of former Iowa players there who have done really well in the league in general. And then when you look at the linebacker room, Cody Simon, I brought him in late on waivers for like $1. Omar Speights, again, $1 depth, see what happens. Leo Chenal, I've had him for a couple years. But the big hitters really on this team, I have Jack Campbell. I have Alex Singleton. I have Azeez Al-Shazier. You know, that's really the big trio at linebacker I have. Ventrell Miller and Drew Quantrill. I brought them in via waivers as well. So, overall, I mean, like, it's not a good team. It's not a good team at all. And I do truly expect this rebuild to take a good, 5, 6, 7 years down the line. And I'll update you guys, too, on how the teams are performing, by the way. In each episode, or every other episode, we'll go through and, I'll update you on my fantasy teams, tell you how I'm doing and all that. But, to be fair, if I ended up with 3 wins this year, I'd be happy. I'd be happy with 3 wins this year, believe it or not. I'd be happy with 3. Believe it or not. But I have pieces that I can at least build around. But there are also a lot of pieces that I want to trade off as well and just try and get even younger in general in this league. And now I'm going to be moving on to the basketball league for you. So this is year 4 of the basketball league that I've been in. I've been playing with the same guys in both leagues, by the way, for the most part. When I look, we're going to do the same thing. Look at player average age, and also per position, and also each individual position in general, and my thoughts. So, head-to-head points league again. Same thing for the football league as well. That league has half-point PPR for tight ends. This one, just head-to-head points, standard, basic. league here, more basic league here in general. So before I get started here, this is a team that I've actually been in rebuild mode with since year one. Year one, when I sat down and evaluated this team, and not a lot of people actually realize when this happened. So I sat down and reevaluated this team back in year one, at the end of year one. And I said to myself, this team isn't going to win me championships. This team isn't going to do that. So I completely scratched this team. I completely scratched them. You know, I had John Morant. I traded him away. I forget all the players that I had back in year one right off the top of my head versus now. But basically, I ended up with multiple first-round picks. Whether I traded them, whether I used them, from after the year one offseason through now. I mean, through next year, actually. I have 2 first-round picks next year, too. But I did not use this year's first-round picks. And I'm going to explain what I did as we move along here for the team. So, the ultimate plan was to bring in Victor Wembanyama and Cooper Flagg. That was the ultimate plan that I had. Unfortunately, it did not happen because the year that Victor Wembanyama ended up going into the NBA, that year I ended up with, I believe it was the 2nd pick overall that year. I did not end up with number 1. So, unfortunately, that is why I did not end up with that at all. But, I still ended up with Cooper Flagg the year that he ended up in a last, not this last draft, but the one before. So, the 2020, summer of 2025. I did end up with Cooper Flagg, which I'm super excited about. But player average age, I mean, my roster average age is 24 years old in this league. Point guard's 25 years old. Small forwards, 22 and a half. Power forwards, 20, almost 23. My centers are an average of 24 years old. My oldest player is Peyton Pritchard at 28 and a half years old, guys. I don't have anybody older than that. Pretty crazy, right? So, I have Cooper Flagg. I have Isaiah Collier. I brought in Bennett Sturts via waivers. Cam Spencer. Andrew Nembhard, who was part of a package deal last year because I had too many forwards and centers, I felt like. This was an in-season trade, so I ended up bringing in Andrew Nembhard and Miles McBride. But Miles McBride is now off the team. And then, yes, I did end up trading for John Morant again. I ended up bringing him in for Jaren Jackson Jr. and my 2028 second-round pick for... And this was just this was one of the off-season trades I made before the draft. For John Morant, and I also brought in Neemias Queta. I don't know how to say his last name, but basically it's the starting center for the Boston Celtics, who just got the 4-year extension this offseason. But not bad if you think about it. Not bad if you think about it at all. Do I think I traded too much? At times, yeah, I think I did. But overall, the overall, plan and stuff, I like what I'm trying to do here with this team. But anyway, let's continue on here with looking at our guards for the year. Anthony Simmons, Colin Sexton are the other 2 guards on the team. I want to keep buying. I want to keep buying talent this year. And we'll get to that in a moment. Let's look at our forward situation, our small forwards and our power forwards. So, this was a trade that I made. I had the number 4 overall pick. I traded that straight up for Non-Nempel. The small forward for the Charlotte Hornets who broke Keegan Murray's 3-point record this last season. Yes, that guy. And I'm like, yeah, this is exciting stuff here. And then I have Zachary Rishier, who hasn't really worked out. Unfortunately, he was with the Atlanta Hawks and they're getting traded to Dallas. Hopefully things work out for him there. I ended up picking him up. He was one of those second first round selections. I believe I picked him up at like 108, 109, something like that, the year that he ended up being the number 1 overall pick to the Atlanta Hawks. But just hasn't really panned out. And then I still have Christian Braun. At power forward, small forward specifically, I have Keegan Murray, who now is 26 years old, the former Iowa star. And then Koi Pet. I don't know how to say his name. But rookie, I brought him in via waivers, dropped Noah Clowney. 19 and a half years old out of Phoenix. I'm trying here. I'm trying something here. Just see, can he make the roster? I'm just kind of fiddling here. Twiddling my thumbs here, essentially. And then at center and power forward, I have Khalil Ware, Donovan Cleanan, Kyle Flabowski, Mosiah Dabate, Ryan Kalkbrenner, and of course, I mentioned him before, Nehemias Quetta. So overall, Kiweda. Now, overall, I love this team. I love what I've done. The expectations are really high this year. I have 2 first-round picks yet this year. This is the final year that I have multiple first-round picks as of right now. I do plan on buying. There are 3 guards. I'm not going to say their names, but there are 3 guards that I am targeting via trade. But I'm going to wait until the winter. Even if I'm not doing good, I'm still going to make a move. Because with the team being as young as it is, I have pieces that I am willing to move in order to get another superstar caliber player on this roster. And I truly think that is the one piece this team is missing. I really think it is. Especially if John Morant can come through and be the old John Morant before I traded him away. And all the offseason stuff happened with him. If that can happen, then I could win the offseason. If that can happen, and I can get one more guy this winter, top tier caliber guard in the NBA, whether it's, well, I'm not going to say their names, but I'm just going to throw out an example here. If I can pick up like a Luka Doncic type guard or an Anthony Edwards, if I can do something like that, I'm not going to say my target list here. But, as of today, that is, then I might change. But what I'm hoping is there are a few teams that I'm watching. If they don't do well this year, I'm going to strike with a huge buy deal. I'm going to strike with a big buy offer for their top guard. Overall, for those teams' top guards in this fantasy league, and see what we can do. See if I can cook something else up. Get one more player. Get one more player indeed. Alrighty, so that is going to be it for that, pretty much. Again, high expectations in general for football, for basketball, not for football in general. Wait. So the Cubs did win yesterday? I was told they lost yesterday. I thought Sleeper told me they lost. Well, never mind then. I guess I didn't have to be mad after all. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the MLB standings entering today. This was the other thing that I wanted to do today, was look at the MLB standings. So, by division, we'll start with the American League. Tampa Bay is 5 games up on the New York Yankees right now, and 7.5 up on Boston. 14 up on Toronto, and 14.5 up on Baltimore. And despite the 2 losses by the White Sox, they do have a 4-game lead on Minnesota in the AL Central, followed by 4.5 with Cleveland and Detroit. Kansas City is 13 games back at 53 and 74. The AL West. Now, can I just say, before we go through the AL West here, entering today for just a moment, the AL West has got to be the strangest division in all of baseball this year, by far. Every time I've looked, the leader either has a losing record or their record is like right at 500. And right now, Houston is at 63 and 63 on the year, leading Texas by 1 game, who is 62 and 64. I'm not joking. This is like remember the year that, oh boy, what? Remember the year that the Seahawks won the NFC West and won it with a 7-9 record? This is that division. This is that division. That's crazy. That's crazy. So anyway, now we'll take a look at the National League here, and then we'll look at the wild card standings and give my thoughts. So, Atlanta, 5.5 games ahead of Philadelphia, who's really turned things around ever since Don Mattingly got hired. And then Miami is 10.5 games back. Washington, 14.5 back. And the Mets, the most disappointing team in baseball this year by far, at 17.5 games back. Now, when I look at the NL Central here, the Cubs are 4.5 games back of Milwaukee right now, with 7 games left to go, by the way, in that season series. The Cubs have got to go. You've got to go 5-2, 4-3 in those games. You just have to. If you're the Cubs, you just have to. You have got to be able to get a game or two on one. You gotta go like 5-2 probably in order to have a shot at this division. St. Louis 13.5 games back. Pittsburgh 17 back. Cincinnati 18 back of Milwaukee. The Dodgers are 8 games ahead of San Diego. The Padres are the Diamondbacks are 10 games back of the Dodgers. And then San Francisco and Colorado are 24 and 25.5 games back. So let's look at the wild card situation in general. So in the American League right now, the New York Yankees are 8.5 up for the number 1 spot, and Boston is 6 up for a wild card spot right now. New York is 2.5 ahead of Boston right now for the number 1 wild card spot. Texas is a half game ahead of Minnesota right now, and Toronto for the 3rd wild card spot. The wild card situation in the AL could come down to the final day, because we've also got Cleveland, Baltimore, Detroit, who are all a whole game back with a whole month to go, and we've got Seattle, who's 3 games back too. Like, outside of New York and Boston, if you're Texas, if you're Minnesota, if you're Toronto, if you're Cleveland, if you're Baltimore, if you're Detroit, if you're Seattle, you are still in the wild card race. And it could come down to the final day. It could come down to the final day for that 3rd wild card spot. And it's going to be absolutely insane, I think, if it does. It's going to be insane. Now, the good news is, if you're the Cubs right now, you are 6 games up for the 3rd wild card spot right now. And Philly is a game up on San Diego for that 3rd wild card spot. Arizona is also 2 games back of San Diego. So, if you're the Cubs, I think your expectations are, if you don't win this division, you have got to secure the number 1 wild card spot. I don't think you have a choice. I think that has to be your goal. Now, if you are the Cubs right now, You are hoping that Arizona makes a run. You are hoping that St. Louis makes a run. Because I do not think you want to play Philadelphia. Because you played Philadelphia at the beginning of the year and absolutely smoked them pretty much. I don't think you want to play San Diego knowing their bullpen. I think you're hoping for Arizona, and I think you're hoping for St. Louis to make a run. I think that's what you're hoping. That's what you need to hope for going forward. If you're a Cubs fan, which is kind of what I'm hoping for, to tell you the truth. But the expectations, again, number 1 wild card spot if you don't win the division. By the way, did anybody hear that Milwaukee beat Seattle 22-0 yesterday? I mean, come on. Seriously? That's insane. That is absolutely insane. Last thing here we're going to take a look at is fall camp stock reports for Iowa football. So, again, quarterback, we just don't know. It's up and down. Both guys are up and down. It's going to come down to the final couple of days, I think. Or even, like we talked about before, I think we're going to see both guys week 1. I do think we're going to see both guys week 1. And Hank Brown and Jeremy Hecklinski. I think we're going to see both. It's hard not to be excited about this running back room at all. I love this running back room to death. I think that we have 4 guys. I feel comfortable giving the ball to all 4 of these guys. Kamari Moulton, Nathan McNeil, Xavier Williams, LJ Phillips. Any 4 of them. I'm excited to give the rock to any of them. Wide receiver, again, Evan James, KJ Parker, Dayton Howard, Jarrett Bowie, Tony Diaz, Reese Vanderzee. The wide receiver room I'm super excited to watch. Tight end I'm super excited about watching. Zach Ortworth could be the 3rd tight end. You have Thomas Meyer, Addison Ostrenga, DJ Vaname, who broke out last year. The offensive line in general is going to be great again. You know, I think we have 8-9 guys who could play. So I'm super excited to watch all the skill positions around whoever is at quarterback. And I'm excited to see both quarterbacks. The defensive line is interesting still. You know, I like Epinesa. I like Will Hubert, Gaffney, but we'll just have to kind of wait and see what happens. The linebacker room is deep, but it's interesting because you have Cam Buffington, Jaden Montgomery, but you also have some situational linebackers, I think, on this team. Landon Van Carrick, Derek Wieskopf. I don't know how to say these guys' last names, by the way. Zach Lutmer, Deshaun Lee, Tyler Brown, Darian Jones has had some. Darian Jones has the most interceptions in camp, if I read that right earlier this week, by the way. He's the Omaha kid. Marcelo Vitti. Iowa's going to be in a great spot in the secondary. We're going to be in a great... I think every skill position spot is going to be in a great spot. I think that quarterback is the big question on this team. I think that Eli Ulrich is going to be a good kicker for us. He'll be fine. I'm a little bit worried about... I am a little bit worried about special teams and punting. That could be the weakness of this team, believe it or not. And Iowa stresses special teams and defense. And we'll just have to kind of wait and see what happens going forward here. But I'm really worried about punting. I'm really worried about this punting room. It's just kind of a wait-and-see game, what we end up with at this point. But honestly, like, the offense I'm super excited about. The defense I'm super excited about. In general, I'm really excited to see both of these quarterbacks. And the future quarterback in line, Trenton Bessinger, is probably the most naturally built quarterback we have had in a long time at Iowa, it sounds like. And this kid is the future. This kid is the future, it sounds like. And I'm real excited to watch this kid play. And he could play next year, you know? You never know. Like, he's been eager to learn. He wants to learn. But in a Tim Lester offense, it takes about a year to learn this. It takes years to learn this offense. So, I mean, it's complicated. So, I mean, I'm excited. I'm really, really excited to see what this team can do. They have a lot of promise. A lot of promise. I think Iowa could absolutely still go up to Michigan and steal a win at the Big House. I think Iowa could steal a win at home over Ohio. Could be the team to upset Ohio State, or at least give them the biggest scare out of anybody on their schedule this year. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Thank you all for watching today's episode, everybody. Please leave a like if you did, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time here on the Fantasy Hawkeye Show. Next week, I plan on doing my overall NFL preview episode there, going over who I think division winners are going to be, and my Super Bowl prediction. Thank you, everybody, for coming to today's episode, and I will see you all next week with my NFL football preview. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.